Hello, darlings. How are you? How are you? How are you? How are you? Hope you're well. Bear with. Yeah. Marvelous. Ah. Ah. Splendidness. Well, a very good evening to you all. It's lovely of you to join me. And a very warm welcome to Thursday night. Is it Thursday already? Fucking hell. Dear me, that's crept round, doesn't it? Oh, I am hanging out of my bottom, darlings. I really am. This week is just catching up with me now, and I'm flagging. I don't mind admitting, but that's enough about me. How are you, my lovelies? How have your days been? And yeah, it's Mad Thursday night. Don't worry about me. After a slurp of wine, I'll be absolutely fine. I'll be ready for the madness. Bring it on. Whatever you want to talk about tonight, Thursday night, anything goes. So if you want to prod me in a certain direction, then go ahead. Go ahead. We can talk about anything, everything, you name it, we can do it. Oh, you're very good health, darlings. Now then, first cab off the rank tonight is the lovely Jimmy Quinn, who says, and pay attention because I will be asking questions later. Good evening, Boaty and all. Hello, Jimmy. Sophie's here. Hi, everyone. Hello, Boaty. Matron's here. Evening, all. The lovely Simone is here and says, hello, Scroty. Peter P is here. Good evening, all. Barry is here with Karen, and they both wish all of you lovely people a very good evening. Captain Mustard is here, and he greets us all with a cheery, hello, rusty trombones. Have you had a rusty trombone yet, Captain? And Captain Mustard is also here as Project Nigel. So hopefully both of those will have clicked the old like button. Because he always bangs on about people doing it on his. God almighty. I watched a live stream of his. It was today, wasn't it? He did one today. Fantastic numbers. I watched the... Oh, hang on. Oh, gosh, I'm being pinged left, right, and centre by various people. Let's have a look and see if these things are worthy of interrupting my diatribe just as I've started welcoming people. I'm sure they will be. I'm sure I'll be very grateful. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Oh! Oh, fantastic. Oh, well done, Sophie. Right, everybody, please join me in congratulating the lovely Sophie, who had her graduation day today. And she has just pinged me a picture of her certificate. Oh, right. Ah, excellent. Oh, well done, Soph. You should be very proud. And we're certainly proud of you. So, congratulations to Sophie, who has successfully completed her course. She's got a certificate and a qualification to prove it. And we're all really proud of you, Soph. So, well done. Oh, I had another message as well, didn't I? Hang on. Told you I had two. I wasn't fibbing. Have a look at the other one. Oh, okay. The other one is just Emil's giving me some Scampy Fries updates. Apparently, they don't taste quite the same when they've been in a... Anyway, that's enough of all of that, isn't it? Where did I get to? Peter P joined us and said, good evening. Oh, yeah, we did that. We did Barry and Karen, and we did Mustard, didn't we? We certainly did. Now, speaking of the M11, here she is in the comments, and she says, good evening from my cozy bed. Hope the whole damn lot of you have had a wonderful day and that no unforeseen unfortunate circumstances have befallen upon you. That's a bit portentous, isn't it? And that's not pretentious, portentous. God. Well, yeah, I mean, I share that hope. I hope that nothing unfortunate has befallen any of you today. Gosh, jings, crivens. And good evening to the wonderfully alluring... Oh, God almighty. Hold on. It's not bad eyes per se. It's really bad light in here. Hang on, let's put some light on it and then I'll be able to read it. It's because I don't recognize it. Alluring sui generis organism that is Boaty. Well, how very kind. Turn that off now. It's only when it's words I don't recognize that I really have to look. And honestly, it looks so much brighter on the camera than it really is in here. It really is tremendously dim. Maybe I should actually put the big light on. I never put the big light on. I've been here 9 years and I never put the big light on. Maybe I should. Yeah, maybe I should do that. And then maybe I can read it better. Oh, no, I can't cope with that. Now the lights are reflecting in the... oh, no, that's weird. I don't like that. No, I like the subdued, darkened atmosphere. That's better. I can't be doing with that. Can't be doing with it, I tell you. What did I tell you? I can't be doing with it. Simone asks, oh, questions. Give me some questions tonight, darlings. I'm in a mood to answer questions. Ask me anything you like and I will be 100% open and honest. And Simone has got a question for me. Boaty, would you rather be constipated for a week or constantly peeing yourself? That's a difficult one to answer, Simone. It depends. If I've got to go to work, then I would rather be constipated. But if I was at home, then I would rather be constantly peeing myself. And the reason would be reading books. Now, I'm a man who reads on the lavatory. Whether I'm going for a wee or a shout, I'm going to be reading. So if I was constipated, then my reading would be drastically cut down and I would really miss that. And equally, if I'm peeing myself constantly, then my reading is going to be massively upped and I could catch up with some old favourites that I haven't read for ages and ages and ages. I mean, I was talking to the lovely Sean months and months ago when somebody sent him a copy of I Bought a Mountain, and I still haven't reread that. I mean, I've read it 469,000 times already. Of course I have, but it would be nice to read it again. And I can think of literally thousands of books that I know of. I mean, to be honest, when I was younger, I was a ridiculously voracious reader. And I was brought up in a house where most of the rooms of the house were piled literally from floor to ceiling with books. And I didn't really have my own books when I was a child. I just had constant access to my parents' library. So, I read a lot of books that probably wouldn't be deemed suitable or appropriate for somebody of my young age, but I read them and I damn well enjoyed them. I mean, I read some that were kind of designed for a younger audience, and I enjoyed those as well. But the point is that when I I would have read throughout my childhood, teenager, I would read a book a day minimum, and then depending on what I was doing, sometimes 2 or even 3. It helps that I'm an incredibly quick reader. And I don't mean I skip read. I mean I can read exceptionally quickly, picking up on not only every single word, but every nuance. For whatever reason, I've just got, I don't know, quick eyes or a quick brain or something. And so that means that I've read hundreds of thousands of books, I imagine, tens of thousands anyway. And that means that I don't need to read any new ones. And I would be scared of reading a new book in case I didn't enjoy it. I would much rather read a book that I've read before and loved because I know I'm not going to be disappointed. And there are so many books in that category that, you know, I could read a book, I might not have read it for 20 years, and I will thoroughly enjoy it. Another example, The Catcher in the Rye, J.D. Salinger. I haven't read that for 30 years. I would love to read that again. The Choir Boys, I haven't read that for a while. I would love to read that again. And there are any number, darlings, of biographies and autobiographies that I would more than happily sit and plow through. So the idea of constantly pissing myself for a week, that would actually be fabulous. I mean, I suppose I could get cramp in my legs from sitting on the loo so much, and I could potentially get bum cheek rash, but, you know, I'd risk that. God, wouldn't that be amazing? Because, I mean, I'd be signed off work, wouldn't I? And that meant I could just spend a whole week reading. So, yes, please, Simone, I will take the constantly pissing myself, and you know, I would just have to order the books from Amazon if I didn't have them here, I suppose, because God knows I wouldn't be able to go out and get them. But thank you for the question. And if anybody else has got a question for me, please do ask it. I would love to answer it. The M11 has subbed to Simone's channel today. She thought she'd done it ages ago, so she's sorry. Well, that's nice, isn't it? Don't call Karen Kaza. She doesn't like it. She got called it at school and she hated it. Well, I've never called you that, and I never will. Andrew Buttigieg is with us, and I can't believe it's not Buttigieg, because it isn't not Buttigieg. It is. It's Andrew. It's our friend Andrew, who we also know and love as Ivor Spotty Botty, and we're all going to say hello to him, so that's nice, isn't it? Bad Books is with us. Good evening, all. Is everyone ready for Mad Thursday, says Matron? I hope you are. And Karen says, in the same way, Barry hates being called Sir. He thinks it's patronising. God, yeah. Right. No wonder you took issue with Mr. Joseph Lloyd of Lloyd Vehicle Consulting. Although he doesn't call me sir, he calls me Reverend. Quite right too. I like a bit of that. I quite enjoy being called Your Reverence every now and then. I find dear patronising, says Emmels. Do you, dear? Do you really? Good evening, Jason, and all in chat, says Trisha. Good evening, Trisha. And thank you for the very helpful and kind gift of your corkscrew, which you may have seen me putting to very good effect earlier. What a splendid example of the breed it really is. It removed that cork with ease. So I dedicate this glass of wine to you, Trisha, and your other, Paul, isn't it? And your lovely other half. Sophie is here and says, how are we all on this lovely night? Karen agrees with Emmels that being called dear is patronising. All right, my lovelies, I'll try to remember not to do that. Bless them. Aren't ladies lovely? God almighty. Oh, they're going to sit on my head, aren't they? Oh, dear. Oh, Sophie's okay. She's gone to bed early and she's had a good day because she got her certificate, which is wonderful. Oh, hello. Goodness gracious me. We have... Say hello to one of my work colleagues, darlings, who you will see by his YouTube username, which is, I don't know how to pronounce it, Yakta. But it's my friend Manoj from work, who is lovely. We We talk endlessly when we can get away with it, when we're not supposed to be working. And he's a lovely chap, like many. I mean, he's a much younger man than me, of course. He's a generation younger than me, but we get on terribly well, and we have some excellent chats, and I tease him. But he's a lovely guy, and it's lovely to see you here. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us. So please, everybody, do welcome my friend into our little community here. Now, some of you who've eaten at the restaurant, you will have already met him. But those of you who haven't, you can meet him here in the chat. And if you've got any sense about you at all, you will come to the restaurant. And you can meet all of us at the restaurant, and we'll look after you. We will give you food and drink and kindness in exchange for money. And we accept cash or card. We'll do anything for money, darlings. Namaskar. Really glad to have you here, mate. I missed you tonight. Where were you? Why were you not at work, you part-timer? I've just realised we had a busy old night tonight and he wasn't here. Where were you, you little scamp? I have words with you tomorrow. Oh, dear. Oh, thank you. Project Nigel / Captain Mustard did indeed click the like button from both channels, which is jolly decent of him, really. Chaz Brown wonders if WD-40 would help with a rusty trombone. I wouldn't recommend it, let's put it that way. And now we're all congratulating Sophie, so that's absolutely lovely. Tracy has probably got something in her fridge to help with that rusty trombone, says the M11. Yeah, well, the less said about Matron's fridge, the better. Oh, and everybody's being really lovely to Sophie. That's absolutely brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. And Sophie's other half, the fabulous Neil, who we, of course, know and delight in as the Gibbon hater. The man that hates Gibbons with such a passion that he has made a public pledge that anytime he comes across one, he will punch it right in the face. Now, I don't condone violence, darlings, except when I do. So it's not for me to cast aspersions on Neil and his hatred for that particular primate. Anyway, hope you're having a good shift. Hope you're not having any horrible jobs. Hope that you're not going to be too late getting home. Oh, we're on to food. I always want to hear your food news. You know that, darlings. And I will give you some food news of my own. Those in the Facebook group, Boaty's World on Facebook, you'd be mad not to join. Be nice to get 1,000 people in there. So do join if you haven't already. Just search for Boaty's World on Facebook. You'll find my Facebook page and my group. Like one, join the other. I would be very thankful. It's a lovely community, and you might enjoy yourself. Or if you're some kind of drug seller, you might find some new customers. It's worth a try, isn't it? I mean, it's free at the end of the day. What have you got to lose apart from your sanity? But those who are in there will know that last night, I made a Chinese fakeaway. I made my own version of Chinese chicken curry, just like you might get from your local takeaway or restaurant. And it was, as it always is, utterly, utterly fantastic. And I enjoyed it very much. And I followed it up by having lunch today. And I opted for another Chinese fakeaway. I made a very classic, basic chicken chow mein. And it was rather good. It was rather good indeed. It was nice to go back to basics. I haven't made it for, over a year. I've sort of gone off on other noodle-based dishes and noodles in soup and so on and so on and so on. So it was nice to go back to making one from scratch and doing it in a very basic way. Now, in an ideal world, I would tweak the ratio of the ingredients a little bit. but it tasted absolutely fabulous. And I'm very quickly going to give you the recipe because it's so easy. There's no, I mean, don't go and pay £7 for a bloody chow mein. It's so easy. Right. If you're going to use dried noodles, and you might well do, maiden wine burp, thank you. If you're going to use dried noodles for cheapness, then get good ones. Don't get those awful Blue Dragon things. They're absolutely terrible. They're not good quality noodles. So get some decent noodles. Now, how you cook your noodles is up to you. I've got a rather splendid 1970s thing, and I'm going to share it with you. I've probably done it already, but I'm going to do it again. Look at that, darlings. Tupperware. 1970s orange Tupperware. And you've got your thing, and then you've got this thing, and then you've got a lid. And I think that the exact purpose of this, or the intended use for that, is I think it's called a salad drainer. I think the idea is that you put your salad in there, give it a, fill it with water, give it all a wash, and then drain it, and you've got nice, fresh, clean salad. But what I uses it for, darlings, is this. And I know that was grammatically incorrect, and I did it on purpose, so don't even think about pulling me up on it. I put my dry noodles in there. I fill it with boiling moist water direct from the kettle. And I put the lid on, and I just leave it for 4 minutes or so. Bugger the noodles about a bit so that they, they're all nice and separated and fresh, and until they're done. And when they're done, take this out, drain them over the sink, or a small child or whatever you want to drain your noodles over. Bear in mind that boiling hot water is going to be coming out of the bottom of them, so do please exercise caution, and run them under a cold tap. And you need to rinse the arse out of those noodles. You really, really do. Partly to stop them cooking, so the cold water will cool them, but also the cold water will get rid of a lot more starch. And you need to get rid of that starch, because if you don't, that starch is going to cause those noodles to clump together, and it means that your noodles aren't going to coagulate with the other ingredients in your dish. And you don't want that, darlings, do you? No, of course you don't. And the other thing that you need to make sure is that you do this well in advance, darlings, because your noodles, when you cook them, they want to be dry. It's essential that your noodles are dry. Now, hear me when I'm listening to you. So then you take your wok, and when you're cooking at home, now, excuse me, because this is dirty. I haven't washed it up since using it today. This is my chow mein pan, or wok, or whatever you want to say. Look, I told you it was dirty. You don't need a wok when you're cooking at home, because when you're cooking at home, you don't need to achieve the heats or the speeds that you do when you're cooking in an Asian kitchen. We have cast iron woks at work. At work you need them, at home you don't. A non-stick pan like this is perfectly good. In fact, it's a damn sight easier to use, because you don't have to worry about seasoning it and stuff. So what you do then is you bang some vegetable oil in your wok or your chow mein pan, non-stick, whatever you're using, and you want to get it nice and hot, so that the oil is just beginning to smoke a little. So yeah, a good glug, probably 2.5 good tablespoons of vegetable oil in your pan. You can season the oil if you want to, and then chop about half of a brown onion, a normal onion. Not too thinly, not too thickly. So actually chop it up in advance, really. Get your chicken, bang your chicken and your onions in your pan, bugger them about a bit. That's what you want to be doing with that. And then when they're sort of pretty much well and truly on the way, then, I added fresh green chilies as well, because I like a bit of a spice. You don't have to do that. Of course you don't. It's up to you, You're free people. You live in a free country. Make your own choices. I will support you. I will be right behind you, leading you from the rear. That's where I'll be. Don't you doubt that. Oh, yeah. And if you're worried about me being behind you, well, if you're a lady person of the opposite genderage, then you've probably got good reason. So you've got your chicken and your onions in there. You keeping up with me? You buggered them about a bit. Right, add a bit of salt. Now, at this point, you could add some MSG, but I'm going to suggest that you don't, because it's not the healthiest thing in the world. In fact, it's illegal in quite a few countries. But it is what will give you the authentic taste of a UK Chinese takeaway, because they rely very heavily on MSG. I don't use it. I would suggest that you don't. An alternative to using MSG is to use light soy. And that's a lot healthier, and it kind of approximates to the same kind of taste. Bang some table salt in if you're not on a low sodium diet, or ideally grind some rock salt into there at that point. Not a great deal, just enough for taste. And then add your noodles. Add your noodles, darlings. And the trick with the noodles is don't constantly agitate them. You actually want your noodles to react with the oil, and you want them to start to caramelize. People don't do this, but honestly, for proper Asian cooking, you need to do it. You need to allow your noodles to rest right on the heat, unagitated, and you need them to begin to caramelize. And that's what will give you that authentic chow mein taste. So you've got your noodles. You've got your noodles in there. You haven't buggered them about too much. Then add in, assuming you've not already added MSG, if you've added MSG, just use dark soy. If you haven't added MSG, add some light soy, then add some dark soy, whiz it all around a bit, then add your bean sprouts quite late. Don't put them in too early, because you want your bean sprouts to retain their texture. You want them to retain their color, so that the dish looks vibrant, and so that it's got some, so that it's got, as well as the taste, it's got some bite to it. You want the bean sprouts to remain a little bit al dente, and that's it. That's how easy it is. Just combine it all together. Give it a toss. Garnish it with some freshly chopped scallions or spring onions, and Bob's your uncle and Fanny's your aunt. That's your chow mein. It takes a few minutes of prep, a few minutes of cooking. It's absolutely delicious, and it could save you an absolute fortune. So there you are. I expect you all to try that over the space of the next 7 days, and do report back when you've tried it and let me know how you got on with it. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful. Why, I'm some Ken Hom. Now, where did I get to? Oh, yeah, Neil was putting some graft in, and Trace was about to tell us about her food. Food today, says Matron, was steak. Again, you had steak the other day. God, you've got too much money, you have. With tempura cauliflower. Oh, tempura cauliflower. That's a new one on me. Tempura, for those who don't know, is a very light seasoned Japanese batter, basically, is what it is. And tempura cauliflower is a new one. But that's what she had for lunch. And she's now eating 4 hard-boiled eggs, because unlike me, she quite enjoys the thought of being constipated for a week. PayPal donation for Boaty's Moni, says Andrew. Moni? Maitland says, oh my God, the big light. That was scary. It went all bright. How many bottles will you drink tonight, Jason? Asked my friend Manoj. I will drink. I will drink one, my friend. This one. The one I got the other night. last night, wasn't it? You were there last night. You did turn up, didn't you? And yeah, just the one, Mrs. Wembley. After the week I've had, I daren't go mad and do any more. When did you first get a rusty trombone? Asks Barry or Karen. Well, I was very late to that party, if I'm completely honest. I didn't know what a rusty trombone was until I was on the verge of dating Boo, and somebody mentioned it in singles. So that would have been, I don't know, 6 years ago, something like that. And I thought, oh, that sounds nice. So the first time I got one would probably have been about 5.5 years ago, something like that. I was very, very late to the party. I mean, I'd kind of had half of a, well, I'd had all of the elements of a rusty trombone. I just hadn't had them simultaneously. So I'd had the, obviously I've had plenty of trombones. We all have, haven't we, chaps? We've even given ourselves a trombone on a fairly regular basis. And I'd had the rusty element on many occasions too. But I'd never had the two simultaneously. But Boo ticked that box for me, bless her. And a jolly good job she used to do too. The M11 says it was like our Lord was descending to collect him when the big light went on. Oh, a monocle. A monocle was what Andrew was alluding to. Do your legs go numb while reading on the loo if you stay too long? Asked Jimmy F500. Yes, absolutely, they do. Boaty once broke a mountain, says Steve Cole, going downhill on a bike. I've had some very unpleasant accidents. No, that's a lie. I've had one very unpleasant accident going down a mountain on a bicycle. Only the one now, I come to think about it, which is pretty amazing. And the reason for that accident was nobody's fault. It's called rolling a tub. And what that means is a tub is a tubular tire. So you don't have a separate tire and inner tube. You have a tubular tire where the inner tube is sewn in. It's incredibly light, probably got a latex inner tube rather than butyl, and it is glued on to the rim of the bicycle wheel. Although these days, or certainly when I finished my career, tub tape, as it was known, which is a highly adhesive double-sided tape, kind of replaced shellac, which was the glue that we used to use. However, so rolling a tub is what happens well, it can happen for a couple of reasons. It basically means that your tire comes off the rim, and that will make you crash. Now, the reason I rolled a tub on that day was because it was an incredibly hot day. I was on a very large mountain in France. I was coming down that mountain at somewhere between 60 and 70 miles per hour. It was a hairpinned road, hairpin mountain, which meant that I was constantly having to apply the brakes, well, as were we all, for the hairpin corners. And a combination of the heat and then the additional heat generated in the rim of the wheel by the application of the brake blocks when you brake meant that the heat became sufficient so that it melted the glue on my front wheel. My tub rolled off and I hit the deck doing something, well, certainly doing over 60 miles an hour. Now, it could have been a lot worse. I kind of slid, so there wasn't a massive impact. I didn't break anything. Normally, the normal break when you come off a bike is the collarbone, because the natural reaction as you go down is to put your hand out, your hand hits the road, that jars here, and you do a collarbone, which is a pain in the arse because the only cure for doing a collarbone is rest. So it meant that you pretty much lost your season if you did a collarbone early season. But as it happens, and believe it or not, weird as this may sound, you do practice falling off a bike. There are techniques for falling off to try and minimize the damage that you do. So in that respect, when I came off on this occasion, I was quite successful because I came off and I just slid. The downside of that is I'm wearing just a single layer lycra racing suit. And when you slide off your bicycle at in excess of 60 miles an hour, you slide down a road for quite a long way, darlings. And when you only have a single layer of lycra, then that lycra will very soon give up the ghost and rip. And that leaves your skin against the road. And guess what? That rips too. So the upshot was that we call it road rash, or we did call it road rash back in the game. So the upshot is that I had a body covered in road rash. I lost a lot of my skin, and for I can't remember how long, but for quite a long time, the only way that I could possibly sleep was literally sitting upright in a corner, trying not to touch part, and that was the only way I could get any sleep. There was no way that I could lie down on a bed. It was simply too uncomfortable. And when I say uncomfortable, I mean so painful that you would actually cry. But I carried on. It was a stage race. I didn't retire. I did carry on, and that is why I hate football. Because in my sport, you fall off and you slide halfway down a mountain at in excess of 60 miles an hour, and you rip most of the skin off your body, and you just find a way to carry on. Whereas footballers, somebody breathes within 3 feet of them, and they fall over and claim a terrible injury, burst into tears, and demand a penalty. And that's why I hate football, and why I think that all footballers should be poked with an electric cattle prod. And it's why, as far as I'm concerned, football is a game to be played by children in a school playground. It is not a sport. Cycling is a sport. Boxing is a sport. Rowing is a sport. Running is a sport. Long jump is a sport. Football, not a sport. Now then, where did I get to? Mad Thursday. It's supposed to be about you tonight, not me. Barry is the same, says Karen. He's an avid reader. He's a sensible chap. I hope you're still adopting my correct defecating position. I showed you from my bowel retraining class, Boaty, says Emmels. And that is true. Emmels very kindly sent me a guide on the appropriate posture, complete with diagrams of how you should sit on a lavatory whilst having what you'll forgive me for referring to as a plop. As it happens, I pretty much do adopt the suggested position, except that in the diagrams that Emmels very kindly gave me, the figure wasn't reading a book, whereas I invariably am. Matron says, my parents' library had a couple of very interesting 1980s how to do marital gymnastic books. From them, I learned that if a woman is on top, she might faint with the pleasure of the manhood. Yeah, well, she might indeed. Certainly, many women that I've known are only able to achieve orgasm through intercourse when they are indeed on top, and thus they can regulate the old friction and whatnot. Indeed, the artist formerly known as Mrs. Boaty, and please God she's not watching this because I'm being hideously indiscreet. That was the only way that she could achieve orgasm through actual penetration, that was the only position, never in any other position. Oral, oh God, yeah, absolutely. But when it comes to actual penetration, that was the only position that actually, rang the old bell, ding dong. But yeah, my parents had some similar books. My parents had the original Kama Sutra of Vatisiyama, or whatever it's called, which I read when I was very young and found it exceedingly boring. Because if any of you, and I've talked about this on the live stream before, if any of you have read the original Kama Sutra, it is not, you know, it's like a textbook. It's like a textbook. It's not at all arousing. It's genuinely like a textbook. But it's also the reason why, from quite a young age, in my mind, I've always referred to a gentleman's little willy willy and a lady's whoopsie daisy as a lingam and a yoni, because those are the words that are used in the original Kama Sutra. And that's the way that I've always thought of them. Although, sometimes in a more light-hearted moment, I do like to think of them as pee-pees and hoo-hoos. But there we are. There's feature number 3. What did you call doodahs and front bottoms when you were a kid? Where did I get to? Here we are. I like Stephen King, for the record, and have all his books, says Karen. Barry is driving. Stephen King, never got into him. I think I read one. Didn't really do it for me. Didn't read any more. But obviously a very, very popular author. Boaty, are those flowers flammable? Asked Decol. I've got absolutely no idea. I like Joseph's work, says Barry. He's a nice man. He is. He's a lovely man. He is a lovely man. Simone says, if you had to set a book on fire, which book would you choose? I would choose the Bible, Simone. Bad Book says, the last internal combustion engine Jaguar car rolled off the production line at Castle Bromwich today. Sad day. I saw that. Yeah, I did see that. But yeah, it is a sad day, but, well, is it? Is it a sad day? I had that time with that £71,000 electric Jaguar, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was amazing. And I would love to have one of those. Project Nigel has got more subscribers than Boaty. Has he? Oh, well done. Well done, Mustard. It was bound to happen any time now, wasn't it? So, well done. You were ahead of me when we met by miles. I went ahead for a while, and now you've gone back ahead. So that's brilliant. I'm really pleased for you. And, who knows? Maybe the tides will turn once again, and maybe I will catch you up and overtake you. So we'll see. Let's have a race to 10,000, shall we? But yeah, I knew he was on the verge of catching me. I mean, let's face it, YouTube have helped him out. I've done quite well on subscribers this last month. In fact, I've done really quite well, but it's been ruined by YouTube taking about 200 off me in the last 28 days. So there you go. I made and ate spag bol today, says the M11. Oh, God. Oh, don't mention spag bol. I still haven't had any. It's been so long. And I keep saying I need to cook it. I need to eat it. I need spag bol in my life. And I never get round to it. Oh, and he's also got more nasal hair than Boaty as well, Jimmy, says the M11. Yep, that's 2 things he's beaten me on. Simone had chicken curry this evening. Did you make it yourself, my lovely, or was it a pink cuisine job or a takeaway job? Let us know. I am making meatloaf tonight with mashed potato and steamed veg, says either Barry or Karen, presumably Karen, not because she's cooking, because she's a lady, woman, wife type person. Oh, no. We live in an equal society where men and women can be equally good or bad or proficient or unproficient or whatever at cooking. It's just that, she said that Barry was driving. So I think we have to, for the time being, assume that any comment that comes from the Barry Karen camp or the Karen Barry, anything that comes from that camp, we have to assume is coming from Karen. And I have never tried meatloaf. I've never tried meatloaf. Yeah, perhaps I should make it one day. Meatloaf. I'll do anything for lunch, but I won't eat that, says Simone, and that's quite clever, actually. Why is it that every time Boaty says your noodles, it sounds really dodgy? I don't know. Paradise by the extractor fan light, says Matron. We're all doing meatloaf puns. Wasn't 1970s Tupperware parties the precursor to the infamous 70s wife swapping parties? So legend has it, Bad Books. So legend has it. And Ross is here, Dino Dad. Good evening to you. Oh, and Karen's got a special meatloaf recipe. A buggered chicken with special sauce, says Andrew. And I don't know if that's what he's eating or some kind of sexual reference. I haven't got a clue. Always allow your noodles to rest. Good advice, M11. I buy fresh noodles from Marks and Spencer, says Jimmy Quinn. Very nice. If you can afford it, great. Better still, make your own noodles. But if you don't have the time to make your own and you don't have the money to buy fresh, then really good dried noodles are perfectly good. I'll let you into a little secret, darlings. Every UK Chinese takeaway restaurant, very, very few of them use fresh noodles. 95% of them will use dry noodles. However, if you go to Chinatown in Sheffield, and I would recommend that you do, it's a fabulously exciting place. Then there is one restaurant that you can go to. And I know you can go to it because I went there more than once with Chinese madam. And you can go there and you can watch the chefs. You order your meal and they make the noodles fresh. They actually make them fresh and cook them, and it's an open kitchen and you can see everything. It's a fantastic experience. The food is superb. The downside is, like a lot of restaurants in the small Chinatown area of Sheffield, it's kind of not friendly to non-Chinese people. And I don't mean that they are unfriendly per se, because they're not, but it's unfriendly in the sense that nothing is in English. If there are menus, and a lot of them don't have menus, then they will be in Chinese. Everything is in Chinese only. There's no English, and quite a few of them, they don't have a menu, they have an app. So you scan your phone, you scan the thing on the table with your phone, and that brings up the menu in Chinese. I wouldn't have had a clue if I didn't have Chinese madam with me, who was obviously able to translate. Because being Chinese, she spoke the language and everything. Oh, yeah. But Chinatowns, I don't know all of the Chinatowns. I know some of them because Leiyun and Leiyun was my first Chinese fiance. And when we lived in London, we were in Chinatown most nights. That's London Chinatown. I knew Birmingham Chinatown because that's where I used to gamble. That was my casino of choice. I know Sheffield Chinatown because obviously Chinese madam and I hung out there. And I know Manchester Chinatown because my second Chinese fiance, Ling Li, she was the one who was HSBC nicked her from PepsiCo and brought her over to the UK. Paid her a fortune so that she could set up Chinese branches in the Chinatown areas of all of the major cities in the UK, honestly. And if you want to know how do I know that they paid her a fortune, I know because I wrote her contract. I'm not even joking. Literally, they said, tell us what you want. We want you. Tell us what you want. Write your own contract. So we literally did that. I wrote her employment contract so that she left PepsiCo and went to HSBC. And it included 3 return flights back to China, first class for 2 people. Oh yeah, I didn't forget myself when I when I wrote that thing. She was fabulous, Ling Li. Bless her. Like a lot of Chinese women, she had extremely elongated nipples. That came as a surprise, to be honest, because Leon didn't. But anyway, there we are. There we are. There we are. Dead dinner. Oh, right. Okay. Matron's still on the Meatloaf puns. Dead dinner for lunch. Dead ringer for love. There. Dinner by the dashboard light. You took the food right out of my mouth. Like a bat cooking smell. Bap out of hell. Do worry, Emma, says Andrew. Boaty always rests his noodle after a full-on session in the kitchen. His noodly appendage, says Peter P. Don't forget to like, says Jimmy Quinn, helpfully. Dead dingo for lunch, that's from Ross. Nuntival Coodles, anyone, says Buddy Scrotter. I forgot about them. I forgot about Nuntival Coodles. We still need to do that. We definitely need to do that. I want noodles now, says the M11. I have just 4 bowls of curry, says Mustard. I made it. It's the nuts. Fair enough. Is it rude to say cheers, Tubbs? A warning to everyone, downwind of mustard for the next couple of days. Stand back. Yeah, well, that's always good advice. I mean, mustard's arse is entirely, I was going to say it's incredibly unpredictable, but it's kind of not. It's very predictable in that you know it's going to go off at very, very regular intervals. I've never known such an active arse. Poor old Mrs. Mustard. God, the things that she must have to deal with underneath that marital duvet. Honest to God, I don't know how she sleeps at night. I mean, it must be very difficult. And it would depend on which way he turned. Because if he turns one way, then, you know, the arse effects are going to be going out of the bed away from you. So that's good. But you are going to be, you know, if you opened your eyes in the night, the first thing you're going to see is his nasal hair. And that's going to give you bloody nightmares. And if he turned his nasal hair away from you, then you're going to feel the full effect of his arse, aren't you? And I don't know, maybe you learn how to sleep through it, that sort of thing. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to say we'd get the answers to this when Mrs. Mustard, or wife, as she's known, came to do a Mustard and Boaty do lunch with wife video. But that will never happen because Mustard keeps her pretty much under lock and key, you know, in case she tells the truth. One of these days, the media are going to get onto it, and one of the tabloids is going to offer her 20,000 quid to tell her story. That'll probably happen when Mustard becomes PM, moves into 10 Downing Street, and the other political parties will want revenge. So they'll go after wife, who, you know, let's face it, knows all of the secrets. Oh, that could be some awkward Prime Minister's questions, couldn't it? Prime Minister, is it true? Is it true that you have led your wife a life of absolute misery with your constant breaking wind. And then Mustard would get to his feet and say, Mr. Speaker, my learned friends. Absolutely not true. Nice, says Matron. I need curry in my life really soon. I will add the elements to my shopping list, Mustard. Which reminds me, I need to buy mustard this week. Well done, Matron. Make sure you get the either Dijon or Tewkesbury. Was it Lalpa Duez where your tub rolled off, says Alan Simpson? Some spectacular hairpins. Yes, they are, and yes, it was. Is the quick and easy answer to that one. And the irony of that is that we weren't even racing. Anybody who knows Lalpa Duez knows that it's a mountaintop finish. It's a road up to the ski resort, which is, you know, in summer is obviously passable. It's used in many cycle races. And because of the team car situation, then and also because you do need to, ideally, you need to warm down after a really tough finish. We used to ride back down and you get picked up by the team cars down at the bottom. So, yeah, ironically, I had that crash when I wasn't even being competitive. A nice mustard reference in Boaty's upload of Two Fat Ladies, says Andrew. Yeah, Two Fat Ladies have hit the old channel and will do so again tomorrow. And tomorrow will be the last day of Two Fat Ladies. I'm up to series 4. I thought it made sense to finish it. Some of the videos have got rid. Who's just done a lovely thing? Who's that? Let me have a look. It's Mark Passad. And Mark says, hi, Boaty, and hello, chat. Sorry to bang on about this, but have you researched setting up a Patreon supporters account yet? I think you should. Mark, as I said before, I did, and I signed up to it and all of that. So it is there, but I've not published it yet because I didn't know. And I mentioned this in a live stream. I didn't know what to put on it that my Patreons would get out of it. I didn't know whether I should do the same as for YouTube channel membership, or whether I should add something different, something extra, or whether I should. So I don't know. And I did ask for suggestions, but nobody came up with any. So, Mark, let me ask you directly. And thank you for that super chat, by the way. My figures have gone through the floor lately, so you've got no idea how welcome that is. Thank you very much indeed. So let me ask you directly, what would you, as a potential Patreon supporter, what would you like to get back from it? If you get what I mean, and let me know, and I will. It's all done. I just need to add the, this is what you get, blah blah blah, and hit the publish button. I've done all of the checks. I've been verified. All of that is done and sorted. And I love the idea of it because, as you guys know, YouTube take a hell of a commission on everything that happens on here. But I don't want to appear to be taking the piss. I don't want to sort of say, right, darlings, this is a way that you can support the channel and give money to it, and you'll get sod all in return, apart from me saying thank you. And the truth is, I really would appreciate the support because I mean, the fact that I'm struggling financially that's nothing to do with you guys. That's down to me and living beyond my means and not selling cars in the way that hoped I would and having too many cars and whatnot. But in terms of purely the channel, I desperately want to do all of the Wales things, and they're so expensive. And with a bit of help from a few people, I've done 2 Wales videos, and for many of you, what they cost would be neither here nor there. But for me, the fact that they cost a couple of £100 or whatever it was, that's a massive thing for me. And doing those 2 is the reason why I'm in the SH1T that I am now, because that wasn't spare money. That was money that came from not paying other things, and chickens come home to roost and all of that. So the idea of getting some support, not for buying wine or anything like that, but to actually put into the channel, so that I could do the Welsh things or other things, or like the camping trip coming up or things like that. I would be so grateful for that. But I don't want to seem like a, do you know what I mean? So if Mark, if you or anybody else would like to say, this is what we would like if we were to do the Patreon thing, then let me know and I'll do it. God knows I'll do it with pleasure. Where did I get to? God, time's marched by tonight, hasn't it? Time has marched by. Oh, God help us. I'm about 40 million comments behind. Right, let's go for it, shall we? Right. Oh, I did that one. Oh, I did that one. And I did that one. Oh, I did that one too. Boaty, I came off a bike once on a downhill, says Baddy Scrotter. It was a bend on the ice. I had jeans on and that was bad enough. Yeah. I used to fall off my bike all the time, says the M11. Surprised I stayed alive. Darts is a sport? Asks Captain Mustard. No, it's not a sport. It's a pastime. It's a game. It's a pastime. It's, it's fat blokes in a pub, isn't it? I'm not as rabid about darts as I. Hang on a minute. Oh, Jimmy Quinn, bless your bloody heart. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Bless him. Jimmy knows my my old PayPal doings, and Jimmy's just sent a little. Let me have a. Is there a message with that, Jimmy? Is that for Wales? Let me have a look. Oh, hang on. That's not letting me have a look. Can't be bothered to log in. Hold on. I should have an email thing, shouldn't I? Oh, no message, but Jimmy, bless you. Thank you. Oh, and somebody's done a nice thing here. Who's just done that? Oh, bloody hell, it's Mark again. It's Mark again. Oh, right, an answer. Okay. Early access to special videos like going back to Wales. Okay, we can do that. Reviews of cars you have access to drive. Yeah, we can do that. Collaborations with other established YouTubers. And there ain't nothing wrong with wine. Okay, interesting. Okay, the early access, definitely. Extended access to the bits that were cut out, absolutely. Reviews of cars that I have access to drive. I could do that, actually. I could do that. It's something that I've steered away from a bit, to be honest. There are lots of cars that I've been offered, and I haven't gone for it in the same way that Hubnut does and Mustard does, and obviously Mr. Lloyd does. So yeah, I could absolutely start doing that. Okay. Okay, brilliant. Right. Well, I asked, you answered. That is the way that I will set up the Patreon tomorrow then. Yeah, I can do all of those things. I mean, there is some. No, I can't tell you about that. Not yet. I'll tell you about it as soon as I possibly can. No, let's whiz back to where did I get to? God, I'm so far behind. Oh yeah, darts. I'm not as rabid about darts as I am about football because they don't pretend to be sportsmen. They are predominantly, no offense, fat blokes drinking, smoking when you're allowed to smoke, and not pretending to be athletes and not rolling about on the floor in agony. And also, dartists don't earn huge amounts of money, or certainly didn't back in the day. Maybe they do now, but they didn't used to. So I don't mind darts at all. And I suppose, is it a sport? I don't know. It's like a game, like a pastime. But then I suppose so would snooker be, but at least they dress up in snooker. 3, 2, 1. Oh, God, I'm so sorry. And I must say, I used to enjoy a game of darts. Footballers are overgrown little schoolboys who haven't grown up and are in their own bubble. I agree, Mr. Boaty says, give me a 500. Whilst you are having a plap, says Matron. Yes. Plap a clock, says Mustard. Oh, now we're talking about being bent over car bonnets. That's why I can't watch soccer, says Andrew. Bunch of pussies. If you want real football, watch AFL, Australian rules football. Think Gaelic football, but slightly different. I follow Collingwood, the Magpies. Oh. I changed all of my toilets to tall ones, says Jimmy Quinn. What on earth is that? I'm not familiar with that. We used to call them Willies and Marys, says the M11, and so did Matron, but then they are sisters, so that's not surprising. My offspring, says M11, used to call the female front bottom Tintins, and were then shocked when the Tintin film came out. The M11 says when Monday Night Live takes off, Boaty will have 1 million subs. Oh, yeah, we'll kick Mustard's ass with Monday Night Live. What? I've never tried Meatloaf and he's dead now, so I guess I never will, says the M11. Would you have done him? Feature number 7, would you have done Meatloaf before he began spending time being dead for tax reasons? Mustard says you never see Boaty close up with a decent camera. His nasal hair is actually like a bear's armpit. Totally not. Totally not. Unlike you, Mustard, I've got a nasal hair trimmer, an electric nasal hair trimmer. Oh, dear. Somebody buy Mustard one of those. Chinatown in Melbourne is brilliant, says Andrew. Oh, that sounds good. Oh, elongated nipples. That's something to chew on. Untiville at Diddley Squat Farm, says that. Yeah, we can do all of this on the camping thing, can't we? Oh yeah, I can do Nuntiville Coodles on the camping trip. Of course I can. Elongated. No Teslas around these. No Teslas allowed around these nips, says Mustard. Elongated nipples are frustratingly uncontrollable, says the M11. Oh, God. I knew I shouldn't have mentioned nipples. Oh, says the M11. I want to get Mustard's wife on as my next interviewee on my channel. Good luck with that. I only fart at 8:30 in the morning, says Mustard. Well, we all know that's a lie. We watch your live stream, for God's sake. The Mustard for PM thing has taken off, says Andrew. Dino Dad, the lovely Ross says, I refer the honourable gentleman to the fart I gave before. Yeah, that would be Mustard in Parliament. Oh, dear. Apparently, Mustard was raised by 2 wolves, he said today. I know that feeling, says Andrew, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Oh, God, yeah. Oh, and Mustard doesn't play darts, by the way. Oh, Peter P., you legend. You legend. I love it when people come up with this. I love it when people come up with comedy references to comedy shows that I know and love. And Peter P has just done that with one of my favourites, Not the 9 o'clock News. Tommy, even fatter belly, Belcher. Yeah, not the 9 o'clock News did a brilliant dart sketch. Fatter belly, you require 3 double vodkas. I love my nipples, says Mustard. And the M11, the M11 would have done Meatloaf. That's very obliging of you there, M11. Good on you. I'm sure he would have been very grateful. I mean, I really got into Meatloaf, not in a sexual way, you understand. I really got into Meatloaf. It would have been in the late 1980s, I imagine, when I was staying up a bit late one night. I think I can't remember the night, but Meatloaf recorded a thing called Live in London. I think it was for a Channel 4 TV thing. And he did a relatively small live concert in London. It's on YouTube. You can see it. You can still see it now. I didn't know anything about Meatloaf, didn't know him before, never seen him before. But I thought he had the most, and I watched this thing purely by accident. And I got 2 things from it. One is I thought the guy had the most amazing voice. And number 2, and chaps, if you've watched that concert, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Number 2 is he had 2 backing singers, and they were sisters, Amy and Elaine Goff. And they were wearing leather waisty jackets, skin tight leggings, and I mean so light, so tight that you can't believe it. And some of the camera angles were really quite interesting. And I think that was the, I can't remember exactly what age I was, but it was certainly years before I started buggering about with women. But I think it was when I watched that concert and those backing singers and some of those camera angles, I think that was when I realized that when I came to join the in the pottering action age, that kind of thing, there was never any question whether I was going to be straight or gay. Oh my God, that concert. You can see it on YouTube now. I watched it in the bath about 9 months ago. And well, all I can say is Periscope up. My flannel was rubbing on the light bulb. I thought there might be an electrical incident. Meatloaf performed at an AFL Grand Final halftime entertainment a couple of years before he passed on. It's on YouTube and it's horrendous. Yeah, well, I'll give that a miss then. Obviously, by all accounts, some of his final performances or towards the end of his career and indeed his life were very much not the best. And he actually collapsed on a few of them, didn't he? But in the 1980s, the guy had one hell of a pair of lungs, and he had 2 backing singers, Amy and Elaine Goff, and they had very impressive pairs of lungs as well. But it was about those skin tight. Oh God, I've always been an arse man, darlings. I've always been an arse man, and oh my God, they had a camera and it kept recording them from behind, from the waist down, when they were doing all of the leg movement, writhing thingies. And those 2 arses, oh my God. Oh my God. I mean, if you were gay, you could have watched that video and it would have turned you. Dear me. Right, and on that note, darlings, I noticed that we have, we've kind of done it, haven't we? We've done our hour, we've seen off Thursday, and we have welcomed in Friday. Please don't make me think about your little erection, Boaty, says Mustard. And both hands on the table, please, says Andrew. I can't stop you thinking about it, Mustard. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Honestly, that can't. I'm going to go and watch it now. Seriously. If you doubt me, if you think I'm making it up, right? You know how old I am. I was born in 1971. Okay? You search on YouTube for Meatloaf live in London or live from London, something like that, or even just Meatloaf live. You will find the concept. Watch it. Look at Amy and Elaine Goff. Look at what they're wearing. Look at some of the camera angles, and then imagine that me, a naive virgin in his bedroom that was only thinking about training and racing bicycles and winning stuff. And suddenly I'm confronted by those arses. And, well, things happened, darlings. Things happened. Things moved on at pace. Oh, that was a pivotal moment. God almighty. And actually, genuinely, that was the moment where, after that, even before I became sexually active, everything suddenly, that was the thing that flicked the switch in my head, where I went from nice young lad to bloke. And suddenly the switch flicked in my head, and everything, when it came to ladies, had a sexual connotation. And the first question when you saw any woman would be, would you do her? And I remember this in my teenage bedroom with my rental TV from Rediffusion or whatever it was, 21-inch. Thank you very much. Oh yeah, my paper round paid for that. Or was it Granada? Can't remember. It was an ex-rental TV. It was, and I bought it from Safeway in Redditch. They set up an outside thing where they were selling off their ex-rental TVs. And with my paper round money, I bought a 21-inch. Oh, yeah. And I can remember watching Prisoner Cell Block H. And suddenly, having seen this Meatloaf video, suddenly, instead of thinking whatever it was I used to think when I watched Prisoner Cell Block H, suddenly I'm seeing the one called Karen in that red polo neck she always used to wear with the small but perfectly formed buzzwams. And I suddenly looked at her and thought, fucking hell, what? I could do some damage to that. And I'd never thought like that before. And it was, and that kind of ruined me for the next 30 years. I just became a testosterone-driven absolute animal. But there we are. Oh, God, says Matron. We know what Boaty's going to be doing within 5 minutes of this finishing. Sorry I'm late, says John Stoodley. I've been watching a series on Netflix called The Watcher. Very interesting. 21-inch, surely you're overestimated, says Andrew. That's it, darlings. That is it. Thank you so much for your company. Thank you especially to Mark for the super chats and the advice on Patreon. And I will activate that tomorrow. And you can pull me on that tomorrow night. Make sure I've done it. Thank you to Jimmy Quinn for the PayPal bung. I have got the possibility of a Welsh thing coming up. So seriously, anything that contributes towards that is going to be incredibly welcome. And there we are. That is it. Thank you so much for your company. Do join me tomorrow night. I've got no idea who else is live streaming tomorrow. I'm sure somebody will be. It's not Matron, is it? She's Saturday. So thank you for joining me. Have yourselves a safe and peaceful night. Please consider joining me tomorrow. A little bit later tomorrow, Friday Night Live is 11:30 because there we are. There we are. It took a while to come, but it came in the end. Do consider joining me tomorrow night, a little bit later, 11:30 for Friday Night Live, and have the best day that you can tomorrow. Take joy wherever and whenever you can. Life is just too short not to. Take care of yourselves and those who you love and those who love you. And much love from me. And thank you again for being here. Means the absolute world, makes all the difference. Can't wait to see. Oh, I didn't finish telling you about Two Fat Ladies. Two Fat Ladies. Load of videos went up today. There are going to be 3 more. Hopefully, all of which will go up tomorrow, and then that's Two Fat Ladies finished. So tomorrow, I'm hoping to get up Series 4, Episode 3, and Episode 4. And sadly, Series 4, Episode 4 is where it all finishes, because Jennifer, after filming that, was unexpectedly taken ill. Lung cancer was diagnosed. It was incredibly aggressive, and all too soon, very sadly, she left us. So Episode 4 of Series 4 is the last one ever. But there will be one more video to come, hopefully, if I can wangle it. And it's called One Fat Lady, One Large Life. It's a wonderful video. I urge you all to watch it. Even if you've not seen or you're not interested in any of the Two Fat Ladies videos, watch this one. It's just the story of her life, and it's a fascinating life and a lovely video. So hopefully those 3 will go up tomorrow, if I can wangle all of the doings. That's it, darlings. Hopefully see you tomorrow, 11:30, Friday Night Live. Much love from me. Pachoo. Oh, and indeed. Oh, yeah.